Hello, so I'm going to talk to you about genetic engineering from the biology topic. Now, genetic engineering is where you modify the genome of an organism, whether that's a plant, an animal, or a bacterium, or any microbe, okay? So you modify the genome, and the way that you do that is that you do that by introducing a gene from another organism, okay? So in terms of benefits for crops, this could lead to crops with bigger fruit, or it can lead to crops that have become resistant to diseases. Now, what you need to know about how this is done by cutting a gene out of one organism and introducing that to another. Okay? For higher tier, you need to be aware of how this process works. So let's have a look at the example of modifying a bacterium to produce insulin. Okay? So let's say you've got a human with a lack of insulin and we need to produce some more insulin. What we would do is we take a human chromosome, and what we do is we isolate the gene on that chromosome that produces insulin. What we would do then is we would take a bacterium, okay, the singular for bacteria, and we'd find the plasmids inside that bacterium. We isolate the plasmid from the bacterium, okay, so we take it out, and then we cut that plasmid using an enzyme, okay, so we leave a gap in the plasmid, and that's been cut with an enzyme. What we then do is we take the isolated part from the human chromosome that produces insulin, and we insert that gene into the plasmid. That plasmid could then be reintroduced into the bacterium that is suitable, okay, so you've got your genetically modified plasmid placed back in the bacterium, and then that reproduces, and then your bacteria now produce that insulin producing gene, okay? So that is a way of producing insulin en masse using the genetic modification process, okay? In terms of evaluating the process of genetic engineering, okay, so if you have to evaluate GM, okay, in terms of the benefits, it's faster, it's more efficient than selective breeding. So what you've got is you've got crops or organisms with the desired characteristic in a faster way. It improves crop yields, which is important in terms of addressing world hunger. It means less herbicides being used. Weeds are generally targeted. However, if you can make a crop herbicide resistant, okay, then there's less money needs to be spent on herbicides. You can make crops pest resistant, so they last for a longer time. Interestingly, it can produce sterile insects, so you can genetically modify a mosquito, okay, so that the offspring will be sterile. So if you've got malaria or Zika or other mosquito-borne diseases, the next generation will all die out. And the other thing that's being explored in the medical profession is that there's a possibility of overcoming some human genetic disorders using genetic modification. If I refer to the drawbacks, that selected gene could be transferred to other species, which may cause a species harm. Okay, so that is one of the drawbacks. Some people say it's unethical to interfere with nature. Okay, and they also point out the fact it's more expensive to genetically modify than selective breed. Okay, that's a relative term, so you must compare the two. We think there is a possibility that GM crops could be harmful. For example, toxins from GM have been found in human bloodstreams. Humans could have allergic reactions, and also the other factor is it may produce toxic pollen, and that may harm insects in the pollen transferring process. Finally, we haven't fully investigated the effects on human health, so we don't fully know what effects GM could have. And that is genetic engineering. This content here is higher